Hello everyone, I'm Victor, the author of the One Piece fanfiction One Piece, Journey to the Godhood. Now first I'd like to take a moment to actually thank you for clicking on the video. Whether you clicked on it from a web novel or even YouTube's recommendation, which, praise YouTube algorithm. But just thanks. It really means a lot. This is literally my first time making the video or even fanfiction, so quality might not be there as of yet. And my social anxiety doesn't exactly help with that too much. In fact, that's kind of the whole reason I'm doing this is to kind of help my social anxiety, which is the total perfect excuse for it to being complete crap. I'm just kidding. All right, on to the video. The protagonist of the story is Victor, which, by complete coincidence, is my name. Yeah, nah, it's just because that's like a naming thing, so I'm like, it'd be easier if I use my name. Now, his outfit ability is actually the Data fruit, which turns him into a data human. Now, this just means he's merged with the AI chip, kind of like the protagonist from Warlock of the Magus world, Leyland Farlier. Now, I know what you're probably thinking is, why'd I use that ability? Well, that's mainly because I want to kind of explore the power system in One Piece, like when hockey and all martial arts and stuff. Now, what I'm thinking of is actually incorporating breeding styles from Demon Slayer and the bending practices from Avatar: Last Airbender. Thing is, Fisherman Karate, it's basically just water bending. At first, it's only used by the Fisherman and merfolks, so it's more like a racial talent thing. But then we learned from the revolutionary cadre Koala that can actually be used by humans as well. So that kind of led to a kind of personal fan theory of mine that I'm using for like all the bases for all other abilities. So first, from the swordsman state, the breath of all things, which is kind of just a swordsman version of observation hockey, and Roger's voice of all things, we know that everything in One Piece has a sort of will attached to it. And my theory is that Fisherman Karate basically connects to the water's will or breath, as you will. And then, if you think about it, even the mermaids, the way they communicate with different fish, it's also kind of a version of observation hockey. After all, it's like Teacher Kaido says, hockey is everything. And since it can be applied to water, it stands to reason also apply to things like air and earth. Hence, air bending and earth bending. But of course, Fisherman Karate is more like an innate thing. So it would take a lot of time and effort to actually create martial earth bending and air bending. Hence, why I did the whole Dea fruit to be able to do that more reasonably. As for firebending, it's literally already a thing in One Piece. Luffy literally has a Red Hawk Gatling attack, which is just his regular attack with fire added to it, and of course Sanji's Diable Jambe. Though there's some other stuff associated with that. Now for the breathing styles, there's already an example over in Goku's fire breathing style and Kinemon's Foxfire style. The dude literally uses flames with his sword and can cut through any flame with his sword. So it's not too much of a stretch to use it for other breathing styles. Though, to be fair, with the breathing styles, I'm just using it to explain, fire sword, lightning sword, etc. I'm not going to deal with the whole, constant breathing thing, or to get to, the second stage that they use in Demon Slayer. I'm not going to deal with that. It's just an explanation. Now, lastly, this is, my personal theory. Again, there's actually a fourth type of hockey I refer to as manifestation of will. And the best example of this is Zoro's Nine Sword Sura style. The dude didn't eat a devil fruit, yet somehow he has two other heads, and then he has 9 swords somehow. And another example is in Sanji's fight versus Queen, where he uses his fire powers, and then he explains it as his burning passion, while Queen thought it was a result of genetic enhancement. And then at least even the Devil Fruits himself could fall into this category of manifestation of will, like the other two. And at least Dr. Vegapunk basically explained Devil Fruits as they're a product of humans' desire for evolution, which you could literally just call that a literal manifestation of will. And not only that, I also want to explore martial arts involving bodies, such as Marine Six styles. More specifically, I kind of want to just incorporate some of the martial arts and stuff from Baki. For instance, like Yujiro Hanma's Demon Back. Well, I'm not really sure the whole specifics are that. Actually, his Demon Bag actually helps increase strength. It's Yujiro Hanma, so I kind of got included. Like, I mean, Yujiro Hamo is literally him. So honestly, I'm also gonna have Victor Hugh do some of his feats they did in Baki. Like, for instance, Yujiro Hamo to do literally just punch the ground and he stopped an earthquake. Like, what the fuck? And he does all call courses type of stuff like that. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna include that in the fanfiction. Now, also another thing I want to include is during the World Martial Arts Tournament in China, Yujiro actually went up against a previous champ that ended up being an old man, so didn't have any muscles anymore. But instead, he incorporated the softest martial arts to the extreme. Like literally the way he took Yujiro Hama's punches, he just kind of absorbed it and then brought it back right to him. Like basically, it's an advanced version of the marine martial art Kami. So yeah, definitely gonna include that. All right, now on to the female lead. Her name is Raven, and she, like a namesake, is actually based off of Raven from the show Teen Titans, which is someone I watched as a kid, one of my favorite shows, and she's also one of my favorite characters. Now, at first, I was just looking for someone with telekinesis powers, because in order to get this guy Pia, Luffy's way is pretty dangerous. So that's why I wanted someone with telekinesis powers, and I just wasn't feeling Tatsumaki. That was kind of the first thing I thought. Then I realized, oh, Raven can do it as well. So that's why I included her. In fact, by researching Raven, I realized that her powers are technically darkness manipulation. When she wants to move something telekinetically, she first wraps that object in darkness and then moves it. The way her powers are going to come to life is via the fantasy species human fruit model, which is Darkness Raven. Since her power is darkness manipulation, she's going to be able to do a lot more in telekinesis. First, since shadows can be considered part of darkness, she'll be able to manipulate shadows, like a Gekimoria. However, since it's more of an offshoot of her ability, she won't be able to manipulate shadows quite as well as Hikamura can. She'll mainly manipulate shadows for movement purposes, being able to teleport between shadows. In fact, I'm thinking she'll be even able to access the shortest shadow dimension that connects all the shadows in a given area, much like Charlotte Brulee's Mirror fruit. Also, she'll be able to take and stuff shadows of other people into herself and others, although she can only do like several instead of Gekimori can do like hundreds. If I'm being totally honest, I feel like Ekimori's ability to stuff shadows is actually best used to be able to learn others' abilities. All you have to do is take in someone's shadow, and you'll be able to perform the moves instinctively. As long as you concentrate while you're doing the moves and do it, several times, you'll be able to learn others' moves at a much faster pace. It's still an amazing ability to train yourself and your subordinates. In fact, it will help Raven keep up with Victor's strength-wise, as she uses people's shadow scanning abilities while Victor uses day-to-day fruit's superior computational power to copy those abilities and even create his own. The other power I envision for Raven is Marshall D. Teach's, or Blackbeard's, Dark Fruit. She basically be able to do everything he can, like making himself into a literal human black hole. But I'm going to draw a line at Dark Fruit power cancellation, deprivation. I mean, the Dark Fruit's ability to invalidate other fruit abilities on contact, even transfer their fruit abilities to others, is the main reason it's referred to as the most vicious Dark Fruit in history. Raven being able to do that as well would kind of belittle Blackbeard, and Blackbeard's literally supposed to be one of the final villains of the series, so I don't really want to do that. And don't worry, Raven will not get stronger than Victor. Instead, she'll be of similar strength. In fact, once Victor's Zelford awakens, that should be almost as OP as Luffy's Gear 5. Well, Raven's awakening will also be OP, but just not as much. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the awakenings, because I got a lot of plans coming up with that. I want it to be kind of surprised, but it'll be OP. Alright, now I'm done with the main characters, time to talk about the characters and plots I'm going to incorporate from different fictional universes. First, I'm going to include Helluva Boss. The reason I'm including it is because I wanted someone from the Mink tribe, and it was a hellhound, so it kind of fits. While I prefer Luna's human form, she looks smoking, but Luna's Sulong form, her Sulong form, would be pretty badass, not gonna lie. And at first, I'm just going to include Luna and maybe a couple other characters. But, I recently got caught up in Helluva Boss, past Season 2, Episode 7. And, oh my god, it was amazing. So I kind of want to incorporate the whole show if I can. And there are a couple ways to do this. The first way, and what I'll probably end up doing, is turning everybody in the show into actual humans and kind of structuring what I call Hell Kingdom into something similar to how it's in the show. The second way I figured to incorporate it is everyone actually keeps their identities as Hellspawn and explain their weird ass experiences and being little devils as basically a crazy use of devil powers. And I'm not going to go too much into my theory here because it will take way too long. I'll do it probably in another video. And another verse I plan to include in this fanfiction is the Black Lagoon verse. At first, I just want to get a sniper for the crew, and Ravi is a famous gunslinger, so I'm going to choose her. And also, Black Lagoon is like one of my favorite anime, so I definitely want to include it somehow. Then, I remember the other badass characters, like Biolaika and Roberta, so I want to include them as well. And eventually, it's like, okay, I'm just going to include the whole show. And, well, if you notice, most of the characters I've included, they're, females and, badass female characters. And just to be clear, I'm not doing harem in this story. Victor's not going to have a harem. The only romantic interest he'll have is maybe Raven. That's it. I don't. Usually, harem stories, they end up collecting women like Pokemon, and it's kind of cringe, to be honest. If I'm being fair, one of my favorite fanfics is actually Gossip Ice Reborn Naruto's twin sister. The protagonist in that fiction does have a harem, but I mean, it's Yuna, so it works, but pretty much others don't really work. And lastly, I want to talk about another series that honestly I'm kind of on the fence about, Arcane. Now, Arcane is finishing its second and final season, and honestly, it is so good. Like, it is a masterpiece. Like, I haven't had as much fun watching a show than that in like a long time. So I kind of wanted to see if I can include it here, but there's a lot more differences with Arcane and One Piece. Arcane's power system is based off technology and magic, while there is, of course, technology in One Piece, the magic side kind of is devil fruits, and yeah, it doesn't work too well. In fact, the major breakthrough in Arcane Hex deck, it's pretty hard to actually incorporate into One Piece. What I was thinking was to have Hex deck kind of be like the lineage factor that Vegapunk discovered, and especially when you consider how Arcane's Victor, he literally merged with Hex deck in season 2. You could kind of consider that like an application lineage factor that leans towards integrating man with machine, and really have literally Frankie who's a human cyborg, and Baltigo. So other stuff kind of fits. So there's kind of a basis, but it gets pretty complicated. So I'll probably just make a video kind of uh, explaining it later. And then honestly, if I'm going to incorporate Arcane, it'd be in the later section of the fanfic when I'm getting to the Grand Line stuff. So it's still a ways away. Honestly, I'm just hyped that Arcane's finally this Saturday. It's going to be the final act, and I'm so hyped for that. Now, of course, there are other users I like to incorporate, but incorporating them just doesn't make a lot of sense, so I'm just kind of bringing in my favorite characters. For example, I really like Fairy Tail, but their whole magic system doesn't really mesh. But I am kind of thinking maybe they include Ecnologia as Eames' ability, if by that time Eames' ability isn't revealed in the actual manga. And, Ecnologia is an arcane dragon. He nullifies all magic. You can call magic his devil fruit ability, so kind of works. Though, to be honest, the only reason I do that is just because I wanted to do some sort of reference to Ecnologia because of Fairy Tail on Your Year Quest. They kind of really nerfed him, to be honest. In their series, they're kind of saying new content, Giltina, that there's 5 dragon gods they're supposed to eliminate, and each one's just as powerful as Ecnologia. And yeah, I don't believe that at all. Like, if you remember in Fairy Tail, literally, the other major villain, Zareth, just in order to have with some sense of security, he needed literally unlimited magical power and illuminate Histoire just in order to have a chance. And not even that, once he got it, his plan was not to fight Athenogia, it was to go back in time when Athenogia was weaker to kill him. So he probably wouldn't have had a chance even if he had unlimited magical power. So yeah, I don't, I just don't like that. Of course, there's a lot more to it than this, which, I could cover in another video if you guys would like that. But, before I went into this whole Ecnologia rant, there are actually other characters that I like to include from different series, but I want to include Helluva Boss, Black Lagoon, and maybe Arcane story and characters into this fanfiction. If there are other characters you guys might like to see, or even, verses you might think could work, just comment down below, and, I'll consider it, see if it'll actually work. Now, honestly, I've commissioned to say what I wanted to regarding this fanfiction. Now, for the posting, I'm going to try and post 2 chapters a week, and I'll, make a video for each of those chapters. Kind of like this, just describing my thought process going into it, and, some of the references I make. I got a full-time job, and I sometimes got to work overtime, so I don't exactly have a lot of free time, so it's probably going to end up just being 2. I don't know, I'll try and do more, but 2 is kind of what I'm thinking. Now, before I actually finish this video, I do like to thank you for taking time to actually watch this. Now, one thing I want to say is I do believe it's important to be able to laugh and miss all the craziness and misery out there. In fact, what I'm planning to do is end all my videos. I'm gonna kind of have like a little spin wheel, and I'll try and laugh like from different fictional characters, mainly from One Piece. I mean, honestly, it kind of chews me up. Like for example, you try Dragora Diesel, or for instance, Blackbeard, is or Perona. Oh god, this one's kind of hard. Yeah, that kind of stuff just cheers me up. Just remember to laugh. Stay safe. Remember to laugh. It helps a lot.